I will give you exact science, research-based, and accurate, real tips about your health for free. You are spending money every month on metformin, blood sugar supplements, heart health formulas, and insulin sensitivity medications that cost $20, $30, $50. While something that costs $1 and has been sitting in your kitchen spice cabinet as a cooking ingredient your entire life has now been validated by modern clinical research to lower fasting blood glucose, reduce post-meal blood sugar spikes, improve insulin sensitivity at the cellular receptor level, lower LDL cholesterol, reduce triglycerides, and protect the arterial walls from the glycation damage that elevated blood sugar silently produces for years before it becomes a diagnosis on a medical report. People over 45 are managing prediabetes and early type 2 diabetes with medications that cause gastrointestinal distress, vitamin B12 depletion, and increasing dosage requirements, while the leaf in their spice cabinet contains parthenolide, eugenol, and a complex of polyphenols that work on the same insulin receptor pathways, the same hepatic glucose output mechanisms, and the same vascular oxidative stress that pharmaceutical interventions target, but through mechanisms that restore sensitivity rather than override it. Today, I am going to show you exactly what happens when you boil bay leaves and drink it every day. But first, hold this question. If the bay leaf in your kitchen cabinet contains compounds that work on the same pathways as your blood sugar medication and costs $1, why has it been going into your cooking pot instead of your cup all this time? I am Dr. Christine Rodriguez, and this is Men's Vitality Hub. This channel exists to give seniors like you affordable, authentic knowledge about your health, so you can take care of yourself, manage every condition you face, and find the right guidance for your specific situation without spending more than you have to. Real biology, real solutions. No trends, no expensive products. Just honest science that puts your health back in your own hands. Now let me tell you exactly what happens inside your body when you boil bay leaves and drink that water every single day. 3 things change. And by the time I finish describing all 3, you will understand why this one daily habit does more for your blood sugar, your heart, and the vascular damage that elevated glucose silently produces than most of what sits on your supplement shelf. The first thing that happens is your blood sugar begins to fall, and more importantly, it begins to stabilize. Bay leaves contain a compound called parthenolide alongside catechins, quercetin, and rutin, a flavonoid combination that works on blood glucose through 3 simultaneous mechanisms. First, these compounds inhibit alpha-glucosidase, the intestinal enzyme that breaks complex carbohydrates into glucose, slowing the rate at which carbohydrates from your meals enter the bloodstream and flattening the post-meal glucose spike that drives insulin resistance over time. Second, they improve insulin receptor sensitivity at the cellular level, specifically by activating the insulin signaling cascade downstream of the receptor, increasing the rate at which glucose is transported from the bloodstream into muscle and liver cells. Third, bay leaf compounds have been shown to inhibit hepatic glucose output, the liver's tendency to release stored glucose into the bloodstream during fasting periods, which is the primary driver of elevated fasting blood sugar in people with prediabetes and type 2 diabetes. All 3 mechanisms simultaneously, not one glucose pathway managed. 3. The second thing that happens is your cardiovascular system begins receiving protection from the damage that elevated blood sugar has been silently inflicting. High blood sugar damages the cardiovascular system through a process called glycation. Glucose molecules bind to proteins in arterial walls, forming advanced glycation end products that stiffen arteries, impair their ability to dilate and contract, and trigger the inflammatory response that drives atherosclerotic plaque formation. Bay leaves contain powerful antioxidants, particularly caffeic acid and rutin, that directly inhibit glycation by competing with glucose for the protein binding sites that form AGEs. Simultaneously, bay leaf's eugenol content stimulates nitric oxide production in the arterial endothelium, the lining of blood vessels, restoring the vasodilatory function that glycation and oxidative stress have been impairing. Research has documented that the same bay leaf compounds that lower blood sugar also reduce LDL cholesterol through bile acid binding, lower triglycerides through PPAR alpha activation, and reduce the CRP inflammatory marker that is the most sensitive indicator of cardiovascular risk. The cardiovascular protection from bay leaf tea is not a secondary benefit added on to blood sugar management. It is the direct biological result of addressing the glycation and oxidative stress that elevated blood sugar and elevated lipids share as a common root. The third thing that happens is your kidney and liver function begin recovering from the silent burden that dysregulated blood sugar and lipids have been placing on them. The kidneys filter approximately 200 liters of blood every day, and elevated blood sugar damages the glomerular filtration structures that perform this filtration through the same glycation mechanism that damages arteries, leading to the declining kidney function that is one of the most serious long-term consequences of uncontrolled blood sugar. Bay leaf's antioxidant compounds, particularly linalool and the caffeic acid derivatives, have documented nephroprotective activity, reducing the oxidative stress in kidney cells that precedes the structural damage of diabetic nephropathy. The liver, burdened by the insulin resistance that drives non-alcoholic fatty liver disease in a significant proportion of people over 45 with elevated blood sugar, benefits from bay leaf's documented hepatoprotective activity through the same antioxidant and anti-inflammatory mechanisms. A study published in the Journal of Clinical Biochemistry and Nutrition found that bay leaf extract supplementation produced significant improvements in kidney function markers, liver enzyme levels, and antioxidant enzyme activity in subjects with type 2 diabetes over 8 weeks. 3 changes. 1 boiled leaf, $1. Now let me show you exactly how to get all 3. If you are serious about taking care of your health after 45, this video is for you. And here is exactly what you are going to get from it. First, I have just shown you the 3 things that happen inside your body when you drink bay leaf water every day. You need to understand these 3 changes before you begin, because when you know what is happening at the biological level, you will not skip a dose and you will not do this halfway. Second, I'm going to give you the 3 exact methods, step by step, precise quantities, precise timing, not general advice, a protocol you can follow starting today. Third, I am going to give you the science, the mechanism, the research, so that you are not taking my word for it. You are following a protocol validated by clinical evidence. This is not a video you watch and forget. This is a video you watch, write down the methods, and begin today. If you are ready to actually do something about your blood sugar and your heart, rather than just learn about them, stay for every section, because every section builds on the one before it. Skip any part and you will miss the piece that makes everything else work. Here's the commitment I am making to you today. Follow the 3 methods I am going to give you with complete consistency for 7 days. Just 7 days. And here is what that week looks like. By day 2 or 3, the post-meal blood sugar spikes that produce the afternoon energy crashes and the brain fog after eating begin reducing. The alpha-glucosidase inhibition and insulin receptor sensitization begin producing measurable effects on post-meal glucose within 48 to 72 hours of consistent intake. By day 4 or 5, fasting blood sugar readings begin trending lower as the hepatic glucose output inhibition accumulates. The liver begins releasing less stored glucose during overnight fasting, and morning blood sugar readings improve. By day 6 or 7, energy levels stabilize through the day. The blood sugar roller coaster that has been driving the fatigue, the cravings, and the 3 p.m. energy collapse begins smoothing into the stable glucose curve that sustained energy requires. 7 days, starting today. One more thing before the methods. Right now, make one decision. You are going to use the dried bay leaves you already have in your spice cabinet, or buy a small packet today for $1 at any grocery store. Dried bay leaves, the same ones used for cooking, are exactly what the research uses and exactly what these methods require. Fresh bay leaves work equally well if you have access to them. The critical requirement is that they are genuine bay laurel leaves, Laurus nobilis, not the unrelated Indian bay leaf used in South Asian cooking, which has a different compound profile. The bay leaves in standard Western grocery store spice packets are the correct variety. $1. You may already have them. Today is your first cup. So let me show you exactly how to use bay leaves, step by step, precise quantities, exact timing. The first method is bay leaf tea every morning before breakfast. This is the foundational daily method, delivering bay leaf's alpha-glucosidase inhibiting and insulin-sensitizing compounds at the fasted morning window when the liver's glucose output is at its daily peak and when the insulin receptor sensitization effect is most needed to prepare the cellular glucose uptake machinery for the carbohydrates arriving with breakfast. Here is exactly how to prepare it. Every morning, 30 minutes before breakfast, take 3 to 4 dried bay leaves and place them in a small pot with 2 cups of water. Bring to a boil, then reduce to a gentle simmer. Simmer covered for 10 full minutes. The covered simmer is important because bay leaf's active volatile compounds, particularly linalool and eugenol, evaporate rapidly from an uncovered pot and must be retained in the water for therapeutic concentration. After 10 minutes, remove from heat, keep covered for 5 more minutes, then strain into a cup. Add 1 teaspoon of raw honey and a small squeeze of lemon juice. Drink slowly over 5 minutes on a completely empty stomach. The fasted stomach ensures the alpha-glucosidase inhibiting compounds are absorbed and distributed to the intestinal wall before the first carbohydrates of the day arrive. 3 to 4 bay leaves. Simmered, covered, 10 minutes. Honey. Lemon. Every morning. Empty stomach, 30 minutes before breakfast. The second method is bay leaf tea after your largest meal. This method specifically targets the post-meal glucose spike, placing bay leaf's alpha-glucosidase inhibition and insulin receptor activation at the exact moment when carbohydrates from the meal are being digested and glucose is entering the bloodstream. For people with prediabetes or type 2 diabetes, the post-meal glucose spike is frequently the most damaging event of the day. It produces the glycation, the oxidative stress, and the vascular inflammation that accumulates over years into diabetic complications. Intercepting this spike with bay leaf compounds present in the intestine during digestion reduces both the peak glucose level reached and the duration of elevated blood sugar after the meal. Here is exactly how to prepare it. Prepare the same tea as the morning method. 3 to 4 bay leaves, simmered, covered, in 2 cups of water for 10 minutes. Strain and add honey. Drink this tea 15 to 20 minutes after finishing your largest meal. Not before, not during, but after, when the digestive process has begun and the glucose is beginning to enter the bloodstream. The post-meal timing places the alpha-glucosidase inhibition and insulin sensitization at the peak activity window for intercepting the glucose surge. 3 to 4 bay leaves. Same preparation. Every day after the largest meal. The third method is bay leaf and cinnamon combined, morning drink 3 times per week. This method delivers a concentrated, synergistic preparation on alternating days, combining bay leaf's three-pathway blood sugar activity with cinnamon's documented insulin mimetic and GLUT4 transporter activation to produce a combined glucose-lowering effect that is significantly more powerful than either alone. Here is exactly how to prepare it. Take 3 to 4 bay leaves. Add 1 cinnamon stick. Ceylon cinnamon, not cassia, as discussed in an earlier video in this playlist. Add 2 cups of water. Bring to a boil and simmer covered for 15 minutes. The longer simmer extracts both the bay leaf's parthenolide and catechins and the cinnamon's cinnamaldehyde into a single preparation. Strain and add 1 teaspoon of raw honey. Drink this on an empty stomach first thing in the morning, replacing the regular morning bay leaf tea on the 3 days per week this preparation is used. The combined preparation provides alpha-glucosidase inhibition from bay leaf, GLUT4 transporter activation from cinnamon, insulin receptor sensitization from both, and the antioxidant vascular protection of both polyphenol profiles simultaneously. 3 bay leaves, 1 Ceylon cinnamon stick, 15 minutes covered simmer. Honey, 3 times per week on alternating days. Now beyond blood sugar and cardiovascular protection, because bay leaves do 2 other deeply significant things for people over 45 that are worth knowing while you are already using them daily. The first additional benefit is digestive relief and gut motility support. Bay leaves' volatile oils, eucalyptol and linalool, relax gastrointestinal smooth muscle, reducing the cramping, bloating, and gas that slow digestion after 45 produces. Bay leaf tea after meals has been used as a digestive remedy across Mediterranean cultures for centuries, mechanism confirmed in modern research. Bay leaf eugenol also has documented antimicrobial activity against H. pylori, reducing the bacterial burden, driving chronic gastritis, alongside the symptomatic digestive relief. The second additional benefit is anti-anxiety and nervous system calming through bay leaf's linalool, the same calming compound in lavender. Linalool modulates GABA-A receptor activity, reducing neuronal excitability, and producing the nervous system relaxation that people with chronic stress pay significant money to achieve through supplements. For people over 45 whose blood sugar dysregulation accompanies the chronic anxiety that elevated cortisol produces, cortisol itself being a primary driver of blood sugar elevation, bay leaf's linalool interrupts the cortisol blood sugar feedback loop from the nervous system side, while catechins and parthenolide interrupt it from the pancreatic and hepatic side. And here's the one surprising fact about bay leaves that is going to completely change how you think about this spice, and explain why you have been getting a fraction of its benefit by putting it in food rather than drinking it. When bay leaves are added to cooking, dropped into soups, stews, and rice, the heat of cooking extracts some of their volatile oils into the food, but a significant proportion evaporates into the kitchen air during the long cooking process. More critically, the water-soluble polyphenols, the catechins, the rutin, the quercetin, and the caffeic acid derivatives that produce the blood sugar and cardiovascular benefits, are present in concentrations too low in a serving of cooked food containing 1 or 2 bay leaves to produce a measurable therapeutic effect. The therapeutic dose of bay leaf compounds documented in clinical research requires the equivalent of 3 to 4 whole bay leaves brewed in water and consumed as a concentrated tea. The landmark study on bay leaf and blood sugar, published in the Journal of Clinical Biochemistry and Nutrition, used 1, 2, or 3 grams of bay leaf powder daily for 30 days, and found dose-dependent reductions in fasting glucose of 21 to 26%, LDL reduction of 20 to 24%, and triglyceride reductions of 34%. These results were produced by consuming bay leaf as a therapeutic preparation, not as a culinary addition. The spice in your cabinet has been a medicine the entire time. You have simply been using it as a flavoring. Now let me explain exactly why blood sugar and cardiovascular risk accelerate together so predictably after 45, and why bay leaf addresses both at their shared metabolic root. After 45, 3 changes drive blood sugar and cardiovascular deterioration simultaneously. Insulin resistance develops as muscle and fat cell receptors become less responsive, requiring the pancreas to produce increasing insulin for the same glucose uptake. The liver continues releasing stored glucose even when blood sugar is already elevated, driving fasting hyperglycemia. And the vascular endothelium accumulates glycation damage, losing its ability to produce nitric oxide and prevent platelet adhesion. Bay leaf's catechins and parthenolide activate the PI3K-AKT signaling pathway downstream of the insulin receptor, making receptors more responsive to insulin already being produced. Its rutin and caffeic acid inhibit glycation and restore endothelial function, and its PPAR alpha-activating compounds reduce the hepatic triglyceride synthesis, driving cardiovascular risk. A clinical trial in phytomedicine found bay leaf supplementation produced significant reductions in fasting glucose, postprandial glucose, HbA1c, LDL, and triglycerides simultaneously in type 2 diabetic subjects over 3 months. Remember the question from the beginning? If bay leaves work on the same pathways as your blood sugar medication and cost $1, why have they been going into your cooking pot instead of your cup? Because nobody told you. Because the pharmaceutical industry does not profit from bay leaf tea. And because the peer-reviewed research validating it has never been translated into the recommendation that reaches a doctor's office. That ends today. 3 bay leaves, 2 cups of water, 10 minutes covered simmer. Every morning. The medicine was always in your spice cabinet. Here is what you learned today. When you boil bay leaves and drink it every day, 3 things happen. Blood sugar begins falling and stabilizing as parthenolide, catechins, and quercetin inhibit alpha-glucosidase, improve insulin receptor sensitivity, and reduce hepatic glucose output simultaneously. Cardiovascular protection begins accumulating as caffeic acid and rutin inhibit glycation and restore endothelial nitric oxide production. And kidney and liver function begin recovering as bay leaf's antioxidant compounds reduce the oxidative burden that elevated blood sugar has been placing on both organs. 3 methods. Morning fasted tea for hepatic glucose output inhibition and insulin receptor priming, post-meal tea for post-meal glucose spike interception at the peak digestion window, and 3 times weekly bay leaf plus Ceylon cinnamon synergistic combination for amplified insulin sensitization and GLUT4 transporter activation. Always simmered covered, never open pot boil. Always 3 to 4 leaves minimum. Every single day without exception. If this video gave you a real, practical, affordable solution for the blood sugar and heart health you have been managing expensively and inadequately, please hit that like button right now and subscribe to Men's Vitality Hub. Every week, honest science, practical protocols, affordable solutions for people who are serious about their health after 45. Tell me in the comments, has your doctor told you your blood sugar is high or borderline? Drop your honest answer below, because your experience might help another person over 45 in this community realize that the number on their blood test that has been worrying them has a $1 answer sitting in their kitchen right now, starting today. Thank you for watching. $1. 3 bay leaves, 2 cups of water, 10 minutes covered simmer. The medicine that has been sitting in your spice cabinet while you have been spending money at the pharmacy. Starting this morning, it goes into your cup. I will see you in the next one.